You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dad's After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dad's After
Was that?
Show.
Oh,
See, it's needy, Kevin.
thank you for
Just correcting
pointing out
the
my
words.
mistake there.
That's all right.
I didn't know it.
Just correcting some words here, some lyrics. Being is for doing, and we are here at AfterBuzz TV doing another recap of Dads. Season 1, Episode 3, Clean on Me. I am your host, Lauren Leonelli, and we have...
Jennifer Golden.
And...
Kevin John.
That's right, bringing you all the facts and stories and gossip about this lovely, lovely show. We are on the 3rd episode here, and we were making some predictions last week about the women becoming a little more prevalent, or at least that's what I thought. And I think we're right, because I really like what we're seeing with Brenda Song's character, Veronica.
Love her.
How funny is she?
Her timing is amazing.
She's great.
Yeah, especially, you know, she just has those one little, like, lines, too. It'll just come in. They'll be in the middle of a conversation. She'll just throw a line in, and it's hilarious.
And sometimes it's like in passing, like she just walks through and she's like, da-da-da, and you're like, oh, that was good.
Right?
Speaking of funny lines by her, which one was the... I don't remember if it was this episode or the last one because I wasn't here clearly.
We missed you.
But thank you. I missed you
I
guys
poured
too.
some of my drink out for you.
Oh, that's very
We
sweet.
did.
Like Elijah.
Like Tupac style.
Oh, boy.
Pour out a little liquor. Go
That's
ahead.
what I meant.
So anyway, back to what I was going to say.
It's a black thing.
Yeah, it's a
All right, you two.
Jen, yes.
I'm
sorry.
feeling left out of the
No,
darkness.
Jen the Jew, what were you saying?
Okay,
Brenda
there we
Song's
go.
line that you liked.
She said, something about like them being
Getting
married
married.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And she is like,
It was the last episode.
okay, yeah.
I think it was Seth Green. Eli said something to I think we kind of touched on it He said something about when we get married on our wedding night, or when we get married, and she goes, it's not possible because I would have killed myself on our wedding night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really funny line. And she's so deadpan. I love how funny she is. And we also got to see a little more of Camilla, and I think that her character is also great. So this episode was all about the cleaning lady and their cleaning lady Edna, who we've seen here and there, but she hasn't really had like a big part. And she's kind of reminded me a little of like the Rosario character on
2.5 minutes.
No. Yeah, no.
Family Matters.
Will and Grace. No, we're like going through Will and Grace. Isn't there
Yeah,
Rosario?
Rosie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Marissa.
The
Thank you for
maid.
backing me up. They're staring
maid.
at me like I'm an idiot. She was.
No, I was trying to remember, and that's what that face was.
So
my
anyway,
remembering face.
well, it looks
My
more
stare
like,
was the idiot face.
Yeah, you guys were. Oh, thank you, Kevin, for being honest. Jen, you're
Mine
in
was
trouble.
honest. I can't help my face when I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it
no
makes a
kidding.
face.
Your own face has its own face.
It does.
Anyway, so this Edna character was kind of reminding me of the Rosario character. Super funny. Of course, we have the racial stereotypes in there that we're not going to be void of with this show and Seth MacFarlane. And I think it's funny. We all think it's funny. Some people are offended by it. Whatever. Take a Xanax, have a glass of wine, chill.
I thought it was hysterical when
But don't do those things together. Either or is what I'm saying.
David was
Just pop
saying,
some Molly. Go ahead.
Jen's going to
I
slap you.
give up.
What? Yes, Jen. Back to you.
Well, I guess I'll get there when we talk about it. Or are we talking?
What are you talking about?
When she quits.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, okay,
When Edna
so,
quits.
All right.
But we start off with one of the storylines, which was that the Ghost Child Productions. Am
Games?
I saying that? Ghost Child Games? Or
What's their company
Ghost...
name?
Game Child.
No, we
No.
are butchering. This is
We are.
horrible. Somebody being it and call
Ghost
in.
Child Games, I think.
Ghost Child Games.
Is it Ghost Child?
For tonight's purposes, it's going to be called that.
Anyway, the name of their video game company is It is. I think it's that.
I'm pretty
Ghost
sure
Child
that's what
Games.
it
If we're wrong, call in and tell us or tweet us or something. But they need an intern because Veronica is like she has too much work. She clearly runs the show there. She tells those boys what to do, sort of like all the women in this episode. We get to see Camilla kind of, we know she runs the show. We know Veronica keeps that office going, and we know Edna literally controls these men. So this was kind of a fun episode to see these women sort of wear the pants, which is typical of a multicam sitcom, I think. So anyway, so we need an intern, and in comes Crawford, who is always looking for a job and always talking about this business deal and this job and whatever. So we get to see him get really excited about being hired, and that was funny when he opened the briefcase up and was like, "That." She's like, "Do you have a resume?" He's like, "That's the only thing in here." And of course, he's very like needy, as we have seen in other episodes. He's constantly kind of attached to the hip. With Warner, keeping them up at night and being loud. He's like having another child. So we know that that's what we're gonna see, and we do. And I thought it was funny. I was a little like I almost want Crawford and David to be like a mesh of each other sometimes, because one of them's really, really cold and one of them's really, really warm.
Right.
And I want to see them cross over sometimes. What do you think about that?
I agree with that. One is really like hard and one is really soft.
But honestly, I think the contrast it makes the relationship
I
good
guess
though
that's
too.
True. That's true. 'Cause
Like,
just like that scene we talked about, I think it was in the pilot where they were trying to give the receipt back to each other.
Exactly.
It does in scenes like that. It does. But then I think where I'm like wanting to see something a little different is because Warner is so wimpy. So Crawford and Warner together, Warner's even wimpy with Crawford and with his wife, but he's like kind of lets his dad run the show. Like his dad wants to sit close to him, then he wants to get up and go to the bathroom, and then his dad goes to the bathroom. He kind of just like hangs his head and
that
lets
was
him
hilarious,
do it.
by the way.
But it is funny though, because Giovanni Ribisi is really his physical comedy, which is not anything slapstick, just you see the comedy in his physicality.
Yeah.
Meaning like he'll hang his head, or his funny expressions, or his blank looks, or he always kind of looks lost a little, like he's searching for something, and he does that so well, and it's really, really funny on him.
He also gets really small. Like he's not a particularly big guy, but like I feel like his mannerisms make him even smaller.
He physicalizes it for sure, and I think it's funny that it comes out that way. Actually, it makes perfect sense because his character is kind of wimpy and small, and so he kind of shrinks like physically, and I think it's funny.
Yeah. You know what seems a little bit interesting? That Warner, Eli, and Crawford are all kind of similar.
What do you think their similarities are?
That they all seem a little bit weaker than everyone else. But there's so many of them that seem weak that I think it makes David that much harder. And
okay, right.
Like, I mean, I guess that there's three of them that seem so similar and like run by everyone else, and like
they all seem weak. They just wear it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's an interesting perspective there. I don't know if I would say weak as much as I would say they are very dependent,
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Which I guess is a trait of weakness, but
you're right. Maybe weak's a little too specific, but yeah. They seem wimpy-ish, or like less emasculated a little, or something. But I mean, it's funny, and they all do it in their own way. But then, like, we have David, who is just like so hard and cold, and it is funny, but it's just so. I almost want to see it. Well, you do get to see the softer side of him sometimes.
Yeah, when
he said that he didn't love anybody in his life in the last episode, but he really loved his son. Or like at the end,
I almost cried. That was
cute. Like one of the more sentimental moments of the whole thing, the whole series so far.
I know, it was good. And then we also get to see him do a version of being sentimental at the end of this episode when the Edna decides that she's going to go back to her first love. But so anyway, so we're in the office. We've got Crawford. He's an internship, and clearly Warner is like, what the heck? But Veronica's happy about it. She's got help, and he wants to help. He
seems to be doing a good job with his.
He seems to be doing fine.
Little tasks.
And I've never seen someone so more enthused about an unpaid internship
Exactly.
too.
He didn't care.
He was like one of the funniest moments out of that scene when he was like, "I'm gonna call my mom," and she's like, "Really?" And then he was like, "No, actually, she's dead." But it kind of just shows you, he was like a little kid when he got that job.
Like
you know?
he still had genuine feelings about getting a job.
I think the internship definition kind of just rolled over his head. Like that means you're not getting paid, but he just didn't care. He was so excited to have the job. So now we're on to the other storyline where Edna, Eli's maid, is getting fed up with having to deal with David, Eli's father, and his like harshness, and she is not happy where she's at.
That's what I was going to say earlier, was that I thought it was really funny when Eli is like, why is she quitting or whatever? And he gave the list, and it was like, well, it was like my comments about her green card and like, what else did he say? But it was really funny. His laundry list of stereotypes and like inappropriate things were great.
And she was just like, I'm done. Now, somebody refresh my memory on how they decided that Warner was going to take Edna.
Oh, because they had spoke about it in the office. I think Warner had told Eli in the office.
Oh, to share. They were going to share her.
Yeah. He
right.
wanted her for the weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then Eli, consented to that and was like, yeah, okay, that's no problem for the weekend.
That's what it was. I remember there was some sort of, and they were kind of, we share everything. You can, whatever.
Exactly.
So she goes for the weekend, and Camilla is like, first of all, she comes over, and Camilla has no idea that she's like, Edna, what are you doing here? And she pours him a shot of tequila, and of course, Warner spits it out, and I was going to say Vanessa, which is the actress's name. Camilla takes it down, and she loves it, which is so her. We hear little snippets about Camilla having like a party girl past, and she's clearly the one who would be taking the shot at tequila, while Warner would be like, this spits it out and whatever.
And they also make comments about her like heritage and ethnicity.
Yeah.
So like, for her to take the tequila, it means that she like drinks tequila.
And then we realize she's a little weary at first, like, what are you doing here? And then they realize how much time they have to themselves. The laundry is all done, and it smells like, what did the laundry smell like again?
I don't know, fresh maple syrup on a spring day in Missouri.
It was something.
I think that was made
it
up.
wasn't. That was definitely made up, and that was good. And you should probably get a hold of the writers and give them some of your juicy nuggets. But it was something really like the laundry smelled something like laundry shouldn't smell like. You wouldn't like a spring day or whatever.
It was like an exaggerated, amazing smell.
It was awesome.
But she didn't just say that she made her own,
She makes
like
her own
detergent or something like that,
Yeah.
that she made fresh, and she added cinnamon and
Yeah.
all
Oh,
the stuff you normally don't think is in
Right.
detergent. She's
And-
like, throwing in bananas, all kinds of crazy
And then
stuff.
she was making her own cleaning products too, Edna, and she was like tasting it, and then she was like, needs more bleach. That was funny. That was really funny. So, we get to see how much they're enjoying Edna, and we're realizing where this is going. And then on the flip side, Eli is like, my apartment is a mess. And they try and fix that problem by hiring a maid who was a male maid.
David like finds him online or something and hires him.
Oh my God, that was the funniest part for me.
Okay, what did you like, Kevin?
The fact that obviously, when you think maid, and it was hilarious because earlier, anyways, another story. But, it's funny because when you think maid, you have a stereotype for what you think a maid is.
Yep.
And
Edna.
basically,
And Edna,
essentially.
she's the stereotype.
And Edna, or at least if not even, race, you think woman.
Of
You
course,
rarely think, you may think of a butler as a male, but,
Right.
a maid. So anyways, he's like 7 feet tall, and in pretty much almost every scene, his shirt is off.
Yeah.
And,
He loses clothes every time he comes back out.
Which is clearly making David uncomfortable. Eli's like,
And that
this
just
is
never
weird.
happens.
Eli's like, it doesn't. Eli's like, this is weird, but David is definitely like, this is a deterrent, which is sort of helps Eli state his case. And he's like, we need Edna back. And he's like, yeah, I don't want this shirtless guy walking around. We need Edna back. So they go to get Edna back, and Eli makes his father write an apology letter, which is, again, another laundry list of all the things that he will not comment on. But meanwhile, Edna's torn. She's like, I kind of like it here. And Warner and Camilla like love her, and they want her to stay, and they're kind of like, no, Camilla sort of steps back, but Warner's like, no, you have to stay. He's like, you can see it in his eyes. He's like, please don't. And she ends up deciding, after the laundry list of apologies that David writes, which is pretty ridiculous. And that's where his coldness is funny to me, where he's like, okay, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for this, and I'm sorry for this.
Yeah.
And it's like, not really, but if that's what you're going to give us, we'll take it. And the funny part is when I thought Seth Green Eli jumped on Edna's back and they ran out. But we do hear, another funny thing is we know that Camilla kind of essentially takes care of Warner. Well, we know now that Edna is like Eli's Camilla.
Right. He even says that.
Like, remember when you picked me up after I scraped my knee or whatever? Like, Yeah.
He even says that was she was the longest relationship of his life.
Yeah.
Or most functional relationship.
And
of
I thought
his
that
life.
was a really funny, cute moment.
It was cute. That was like his mom and girlfriend all rolled into one.
Yeah, and his desperation to have her back, you could tell he really loved her. It was cute and funny, and then he jumped on her back. Like it was the button on the scene right there.
Wait, meanwhile, do they ever say why he doesn't have a girlfriend or a wife?
I don't know, but I think we'll.
Because he has Edna. That's why he's
Well,
just...
he had the girlfriend on that pilot episode, that girl that kind of like came in and out.
Oh,
I think he
yeah.
just dates. I think he's like a bachelor.
Okay.
But that's going to be an issue with the dad living there. So
Right.
maybe we'll see that for predictions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say the funny part of that last scene to me, honestly, not to go back to the other maid, but was when he came to the door, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been waiting in the car," or something like that, and
Oh
it
my
just
god, he shortened every word.
he
He's
short-
like, I'm
yeah.
gonna go roller bee.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when he came, because it was just totally random. You were not expecting
Right.
that. When he came to the door and had that moment with all of them, I was just rolling
That
laughing.
was funny. That was funny. The roller bee, yeah.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
he shortened things.
Yeah.
He said something else too when he was doing his own laundry at their house.
Oh, right.
Oh, he wants to go take a shower.
A
Oh,
shout.
I
Yeah.
say shout. I say show show,
Yeah.
which is actually longer than shower. So that doesn't
That
make
is.
sense, but I say show show. Or I say, I'm going to wash my body. Like Justin Timberlake. No? Thanks, Marissa. Thanks
rock,
for the laugh.
rock your body.
Wash my
wash.
body.
Oh, okay. I see.
Thank you.
Play.
Did you not?
Yeah.
Crickets.
Talk
Rude.
to me,
Rude.
boy.
Obviously, I'm not as funny as this show, so we'll stick to the show.
Wait,
okay?
I want to know who you actually sing that to though when you're going to do that.
Myself.
Even better.
I mean, why not?
Someone should put a camera in your house.
Somebody should. I'm very interesting. Okay,
Then
well,
put it on TMZ.
I thought, nah. I thought this episode was funny. We get to see more of the women, which I predicted. So clearly, I'm a genius.
Yep.
And
you are.
I think it's just going to keep getting funnier. That's my opinion. I think from the first, like we said, the first pilot episode was very traditional pilot episode, and I like that we're getting to see these characters come out. I really, really, really like Veronica.
Me too. She's my faves.
I totally love her.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do really an episode coming up that really focuses around her, where she's.
I hope
Well,
so.
let's predict that, shall we? Should we? Let's.
Oh,
let's,
am I
well,
jumping
you know
ahead?
What, you are. Let's move into. Should we do news and gossip first, or news?
Yeah.
Oh, iTunes as well.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
get to that. Don't you worry. Okay, so just a little fast tidbit. Seth MacFarlane was seen out on a date with Charlize Theron. What?
I know.
Wow.
They were out in West Hollywood. They're both in the A Million Ways to Die in the West. That's a movie that he's producing, but I guess they're both co-starring in it, allegedly, according to this article. They were seen on Wednesday in West Hollywood on a date, and when Charlize left the restaurant, she just kind of walked out to her car, and when it was Seth's turn, he like bolted to the car. Why would you not want to be seen with Charlize Theron?
Well, maybe this really wasn't a date.
It might
and
not
they
have
didn't-
been. It could have
could've-
just been. But anyway, they were allegedly seen together, and maybe we'll see some of them in the future. And also, the shirtless maid on the show this episode was also a writer. Inside Knowledge told me that he was one of the writers for this episode, and that he read the part, I think at the table read, I hope I'm getting this right, or at some point, and they were like, why don't you just do it? So he did it. He was one, I don't know that he
He
necessarily.
had great timing.
Bring him back. I want to see him again.
No, right?
So funny.
Well, I think if you're
Bring his character back.
a writer, and I don't know in what capacity he was, creating this character or not or whatever, but he was definitely a writer for this episode, then you're gonna know how to
Right.
get timing
Yeah,
and all that. It's
exactly.
very calculated. So he was good, and yeah, hopefully we'll see more of him soon.
I just love roller bee. Like
Roller
I'm
bee.
gonna go do a lot of things that start with a word and end with a letter.
Great, love it. We're gonna use that. Okay, let's move into some predicts, shall we?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, since you guys were predicting all episode and not following our format, would you like to predict now?
I would like to predict that Seth Green's character Eli goes on a date with someone.
And the dad doesn't like it.
Right. And then like it's weird because he brings the date home. Just like it was weird like when they sat on the couch and the dad sat like right next to him. It's like, but there's so many other cushions.
That's gonna be weird. Yeah, Kevin.
That would be interesting, yeah. I kind of spilled my prediction earlier, but I was just predicting that they are going to do an episode that really elaborates Veronica's character, and we see more of maybe even something personal of hers, because we haven't seen too
Yeah.
much of
Yeah.
Right.
herself outside of work. So maybe she brings someone to the office, significant. Well, it can't be a significant other because her ex,
Yeah.
she just broke up with him in the
Right.
last ep.
That was funny when she
yeah,
had
when
warned
he-
her when Crawford like had to talk to him and was like, "She's over you."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was hilarious. But I just feel we're going to see her character more. Something's going to blossom.
I agree, and I'm going to predict with that kind of the same thing, but I think a little more specifically, I feel like what would happen if she left for an episode? Like, what if she got annoyed and was like, I'm doing too much here, and left, and they got like another Veronica that was like kind of funny or weird or quirky or something, and they realize how much they want her back. Like, she's not gone for good, but she's like for part of the episode.
Yeah.
I think that could be kind of
Yeah.
funny to see.
That'd be interesting.
Then miss her and appreciate how much she does, and then
Right.
maybe that could be. Plus, she could come back in with some little smart comment or something. You know?
So true. Oh, I feel like the men would fall apart there.
Oh, they would.
Yeah.
They so would.
Am I the only one that's noticing whenever the women leave these men in this particular series, they just crumble, they fall apart, they can't make it without them?
That's a sitcom. That's a sitcom formula, I think. Also, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. If you go onto iTunes and rate and comment, you can let us know what you think. You can continue the conversation and also pick up a copy of Serial Buddies when you're on there. Maria Menounos is in it. Henry Winkler is the narrator. It's a great,
Christopher
funny movie.
Lloyd.
If you like this kind of humor, you will like that movie, so we recommend you buying Serial Buddies as well. Thank you for tuning in and watching at home. We will be back next week with your wrap up for Dad's episode 4. I am your host, Lauren Leonelli. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my website. That was a really long run-on sentence.
And I'm Jennifer Golden. You can find me online at Jen the Jew on Instagram, Twitter. You can find me at jennifergolden.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can
She's
just find,
easy to find.
You could,
Yeah.
just Google me.
Yeah.
Bing me. Sorry.
Or go to her address, which is also on her Facebook page. I am Kevin John. You can find me on Twitter at Hey Kevin John, Instagram at Hey Kevin John, Facebook at Kevin John Peters, and my website, it's kevinjohn.com. And that was a very long run-on sentence.
That's right. See you guys next week. Holla.
Peace.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you
ya later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.